we've got a quorum, but this is our final Abode Academy tonight. And, you know, I just thank for all of you who've kind of stuck with us and attended as many as you could. And my hope is that we'll do this again, maybe after the new year. And we'll have some new topics. And, you know, we've all kind of gotten comfortable with this forum now. You know, everything's on Zoom. And we can sit back in our homes and have a glass of wine and get a little education. But so tonight we are going to hear all about volunteering at Abode and opportunities for volunteering, opportunities for the board and what that entails. And Mary and Adriana are going to be our guest speakers. So, you know, you all know how to run the Zoom meeting. We've got the mute button that Mary's going to control, so she's going to shut everybody off. And then if you have any questions or comments, the chat button is right there towards the middle. Just write in your comment, and we'll get to those. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of you from Education Committee who are on here. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for helping us get this together. And, you know, a big thank you to Mary for kind of, you know, doing all of the stuff behind the scenes, getting everything organized and getting our Zoom up on the screen. It's taken an effort of everyone, and I think it's really turned out well. We've had great comments. We've had wonderful just returns on everyone's feedback. So thank you, thank you. So I'm going to start tonight with, I'm going to do our contemplative moment. I'm going to start with a prayer that is one of my favorites. And I read it probably, I try to read it every day, but it really speaks to my heart. And for those of you who are working and you're volunteering and you're taking care of a family, this will really be, I think, will speak to your heart as well. So it says, Lord, I will not complete everything I need to do today. Time will run out, the sun will set, the day will be done, and I will not have finished the task. Help me not to set myself up for failure by thinking I can get it all done and then feeling defeated when I don't. Acceptance comes hard for me, but help me to accept my limitations of this day. Since I will not get everything done today, guide me, O Lord, to accomplish the essential of instead of simply the habitual. Help me to see those who must be seen. Lead me to those things that must be done instead of those things that could be done. Make me more sensitive to broken hearts and to my planned schedule. On the other hand, may any sensitivity to time free me from the time grabbers and the time wasters. Above all, Lord, be my partner through the day. You can see ahead and I can't, but help me remember that nothing can happen to me today that you and I can't handle together. Amen.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So I'm going to turn it over to Mary and Adriana. And
well, thank you. I'm going to have Adriana please go first, and then I'll take up the end.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Adriana Garza, and I've been with Abode since it opened. I started as a volunteer, and then I started working as an administrative assistant, and then I became the administrative assistant and the volunteer coordinator. So thank you so much for being here, for taking all these classes. It's a great effort that Abode has done to educate all the community, and thank you very much. So today I'm gonna talk a little bit about the volunteer program, and it's very simple, and first of all, I want to tell you that our volunteers are the core and the heart of ABODE. Without volunteers, ABODE couldn't fulfill the goal that ABODE has. That is helping our guests to die peacefully and in a loved ambience. So the volunteers come to us and help us in whatever it is needed. We don't have like an agenda because this is a home, and sometimes we need laundry to be done. Sometimes we need meals to be cooked. Sometimes we need you to sit down with a guest. So there's no an agenda. You come here, you come to ABODE, and we tell you what we need in that day. There are no skills needed. The only thing that we ask is, first of all, to embrace our vision, the mission and values, which you have already learned in one of our sessions. And for this, it's necessary to come with an open heart and to be open to learn and to grow, because this is not a common volunteer work. This is very special. It's different. You're gonna be confronted to your own life and to your own death. So you need to know that you have to be vulnerable, and that things are going to move in you. And what we are looking for is that when you come out of ABODE, after you volunteer, you feel a different person, and that you grow as a person, and that because when you volunteer, you think you're gonna give, and that's great, yes, you give. But especially in this work, you are gonna receive more than what you give. So that's why I always say, if you want to come and volunteer, just please come with a big, big heart and with open arms, an open heart, open ears, with all your senses, because there are gonna be experiences that you are just gonna live in this house. It's a sacred place. The work that we do is sacred. So all the experiences that you will be learning are gonna become sacred. So just have in mind that this is a very special volunteer work. It's not just, I mean, I'm not diminishing any other volunteer work. All of them are great, but this is very, very, very special. And well, our requirements are that you must be at least 18 years old. You should fill in an application, which either you can find it in our web page, and I can also give you, we can also give you one in ABODE when we open again, and well, for everybody. And then after I received the application, we set an appointment, and you have an interview with the volunteer coordinator, which is me, or with some of the other, but mainly I do the interviews. Then we are asking you to complete the ABODE Academy online, and we'll do a background check, and then you will begin to shadow other volunteers or the navigators, because they are the ones that know the exact needs that the house need. So that's how you will start. So it's really easy. Then we cherish and value our volunteers. So we don't ask you like, you have to come 3 days a week, or you have to give me 5 hours a day. No, no, no. You give us what you can. This is a gift that you give us, and we receive it with open arms. So whatever you can give us, that's what we take. And the only thing that we ask is for you to let us know when are you planning to come, so we can kind of organize our days and ask the navigators when they need more people. If they need more help, we will communicate you the need, and if you can come and help us, we'd love that. And we use an application in our phone that is called Basecamp, and that's the way that we communicate with each other. And when you decide to come and volunteer with us and you have gone through all the process, I will teach you how to use the application. And we are very conscious of your time, but we also want you to learn, to keep on learning. So we have organized this continue education, and we have different programs, if you want to call them like that. First, we have a Learning Thursdays that this was all before COVID came and turn our world around. But hopefully at the beginning of next year, we will start again with all the programs. And if it's not possible to do them in person, we will do them by Zoom. But we're looking forward to do them in person. So we have the Learning Thursdays, that is one Thursday of the month, in which we choose one topic and we talk about it. It's like having a difficult conversation, or what is contemplative care, or journaling, or how to take care of yourself, things, or how to care for a dying person. Those are the topics that we give, and it's just 1 hour. It's at lunchtime, and they are usually at ABODE. Then we have the meditation groups that we have Mondays and well, all of these used to be, but we will again, we will resume soon. Mondays and Fridays, and they are for the volunteers. And if you want to bring someone else, they are welcome to come. Then we also started with a writing club, a book club, and then we have a quarterly meeting. These are very important because as volunteers come at different times of the day and the week, sometimes they don't get the chance to meet. So that's why we created the quarterly meetings, because first we offer you dinner, and then you have time to visit and to talk with other volunteers to see what their experiences are and what their learnings and their experiences they have been having at ABODE. And we also have like a little conference, maybe half an hour or 45 minutes, and then we share experience with us, and we just gather and have a good time. And this is usually the third Thursday of every quarter, and it's in the Brown Hall in the Reconciliation Church. They lend us, or they let us use their Brown Hall so we can work and have a time with you. And I think that's all about volunteers. I don't know if you have a question, or before you have questions, I want to finish with a little thing that I found and I want to share with you. And this is: service is love and joy. Service is being who you are. Bask in self-love. Service will flow naturally from that. It will be freely given and freely received. And know what you do will really help. And Teresa de Calcutta, well, I don't know how you say it in English, says, it doesn't matter how much you give, but how much love you put in what you give. And this is what a volunteer at ABODE does. They bring with their heart and all the love, and they give themselves. They give their heart, their love. So that's I don't know if anybody has a question, or I can say something else.
Well, let's do this. If there are any questions, use the chat. And if you don't mind, I'll talk for a while, and then we can kind of go back and forth.
I'll have a question before you get started. You know, Adriana, what are some of the most unique things that people have done to volunteer there?
The most unique?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have done the labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
They have also done the prayer wall. They have helped us with the guests. That I think that's very important. They also do the cleaning. The cleaning of the house is very important. Sometimes we don't think about how important it is, but it's in the little details that make the big thing go work good. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Can I interject just something real quickly?
Yes, sure.
Thing we've done is the burning ceremony. We participate in the burning ceremonies. I forgot what they're called. And then the fire ceremony, and then the unwinding ceremonies. There was a lot of years when we do the unwinding, and they're very painful because they have a lot. It's just very powerful. I don't know how to explain it to you. And so I just wanted to let you know that, because that to me is wonderful. And if you're not comfortable with sitting with somebody, there's so much cleaning, like she said, and there are people who just go and clean the house, and that's all they do, and that's very necessary too. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you.
I've been amazed at the cooking. You know, when I've shown up to see a patient and the kitchen is busy and there's food on the table, and everyone who walks in to do something is invited to participate and to have a meal, and you know, and that's all volunteers.
Yes, and what is amazing of those lunches is the food, but most of it is the conversations that come around the table, because sometimes we invite the families or even the guests if they are mobile and they want to come and join us, and it's a way to get to know everybody and like to break a little bit the heaviness of what that guest and that family is going through, and we get to know them.
Yeah, it's beautiful. If anybody's listening, if you've got a thing for cooking, there's always room at the stove.
I missed it with Nancy.
Yeah.
Before COVID, one of our volunteers, Nancy Rios, she and her daughters would put together these amazing gourmet lunches on Wednesday. So I always made it a point to be at ABODE on Wednesday, because they would serve everybody around the table, the volunteers who are there, the staff, the guests, as Adriana mentioned, if they could make it out to the table. And Wednesdays and Fridays tended to be communal lunch, and very moving. We're not doing that right now because of COVID, but we look forward to bringing that back.
Oh, for sure. I miss it.
Yes. Volunteers bring life to ABODE.
Yeah. And, they're really helpful to the navigators. The navigators
yes.
are doing such tremendous work in the back, taking care of our guests. And one of the questions Kim had was, how hands-on with the guests are the volunteers? How hands-on are they?
Very. When the navigators can, when they have a full house, or sometimes they are very busy and they need to take care of 2 guests at a time, they cannot divide themselves. So they can use I don't like that. They ask for help for the volunteers, and the volunteers can come and help with the care of the guest. And of course we train some volunteers, because as Roxana said before, not all of them want to be involved in the caring of the guests, but there are others that they are willing to do that. So we train them, we teach them, or the navigators will tell them what to do and how to do them. Never a volunteer by themselves in the guest room without any supervision.
One of the nicest thing that's happened recently, because of COVID, we don't have as many volunteers coming to the house, but we did have a guest recently who just didn't have very many visitors from his family, and days would go by and there were so few of us in the house, he didn't get a lot of interaction. So Susan Morano sat with him a couple of times, Susan Ruck sat with him a couple of times, and another volunteer, just to come and sit in the room and hold his hand and keep him company for a while. And something as simple as that, we felt, made him feel better. And in fact, we could see him kind of perk up when Susan Ruck would come around, and it helped. And then his family started to come visit, but there were just a few days there where we needed some volunteers to help bring that human touch and the human interaction. It made a significant difference.
Wow. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see.
I was going to say something real quick as a volunteer. A lot of the guests are very alert, and they want to talk to somebody. I mean, they can communicate, and they have a lot to share.
How many volunteers do you have in total, and about how many are at the home on a daily basis? That's a great question.
Well, we have a list. In the list, we have like 30 volunteers. Active volunteers before COVID, we had in between 15 and 20. With COVID, we have 8 volunteers right now that we know that they are willing to come, even though there's even though we have the COVID situation.
Okay.
So
And
those are the
before
volunteers.
COVID, how many volunteers would be in the house on a daily basis?
It depends. It depends. Sometimes we have 2 or 3, and sometimes we have 5. Like Fridays or Wednesdays, that was the launch day. We had a lot of volunteers, and then Fridays we had a meditation at 11:30 in the morning. So some of them would stay and help a little bit after they finish their meditations. And then in the afternoon, it's very slow. We usually have 1 or at the most 2 volunteers. And during the weekends, we have very few volunteers. The most volunteers come in the morning.
I think that going forward, once we get past COVID, we would love to have more weekend volunteers and nighttime volunteers. And again, that's a ways away. Again, because of COVID, we're trying to keep the number of folks in the house very small. But one of these days when we found a cure or vaccination and we can go back to being normal human beings, we'd love to have more volunteers back in the house. But there's plenty of things for people to do remotely. But back at the house, there's a big yard. So if you're into watering and gardening, you could be there day after day after day and barely put a dent. We have such a beautiful property. So if you've got a green thumb or you just like to do some watering, we can put you to work any day of the week. But in terms of other things that we have multiple volunteers who are doing things remotely. We have the education committee, for example, which brought ABODE Academy to us. So Susan Morano is on that. Chuck Gibbons is on it. Ed is here, he's on that. I'm sorry, Edwin is on it, Beverly. The education committee meets once a month via Zoom, and we work on any number of projects to build out the education offering that we have. And Beverly, you can talk a little bit about that because you're the chair of the education committee. Do you want to say a few words about your vision for that?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. So, you know, when I first came on the board and started the education committee, oh, my dog's going to bark for a minute. I started by teaching the navigators just kind of the medical background of a lot of the disease states and ailments that our patients would come with. And so we got to talk a lot about, you know, the cancers and the heart and the lungs, and just, you know, kind of give them an idea of, you know, what to expect and what's normal. And then, you know, we went into wound care and, you know, complications of bed rest. And I think I might have to put you on mute if you can hear me. And then my vision for ABODE from the very beginning was that I wanted this to be a place of a resource for the dying. If I was out in the community and I wanted to know, you know, what's it like to die? You know, my mother just got the diagnosis. You know, you start looking, you start Googling things. Well, maybe the ABODE would come up and she could come and, you know, hear about it, or get on ABODE Academy and listen to the signs and symptoms of death and dying. Just, you know, have us be a resource for that. And that would include things like burial or, you know, preparing for dying. You've been given a diagnosis. What do you do with all of your things? And how do you get your affairs in order? What the doctors say, get your affairs in order. What does that mean? So I would hope that this would be a great resource for things like that. We're going to repeat ABODE Academy, and but, you know, mostly I just want to make sure that our navigators and our staff have the tools they need to do the job that they want to do and they need to do. So it's a fluid situation, and we're going to continue into next year. I'm going to mute.
Yeah, I'm just thrilled with the work that the education committee has been doing this year, and that coupled with Learning Thursdays and Adriana's efforts to provide resources and education to the ABODE community and to the greater San Antonio community is just fantastic. We also have a marketing committee, and we meet via Zoom, and Alex is on that now. Edwin is on it. Who else is on it? Chuck, I'm looking around. And the marketing committee, we also meet once a month to talk about how do we get ABODE out there, to raise awareness for ABODE. What should go in our newsletters? What types of fundraisers should we have? What types of PR outreach can we do? Networking, and all of that is certainly to raise awareness for ABODE so that hospices know about us, but also to help attract donors. And part of marketing also includes fundraising. So if you're interested in doing any sort of marketing or marketing communications or social media, anything in terms of raising awareness here in San Antonio, but also throughout the whole country. We are members of the Omega Home Network, as are 70 other homes like ours throughout the US. And that also meets once a month or a couple times a month via Zoom, where we share best practices. So if you're interested in knowing more about end-of-life homes, you could be a volunteer for us and participate in those Omega Home Network meetings just to soak up the knowledge and share ideas and get ideas. A lot of them we use for fundraising. We have the Big Give, which is going on today. I've been very busy with that. So if you haven't made a donation to the Big Give, you can certainly go to the Big Give sa.org and look for us, or be on our fundraising committee and help us prepare for it next year. We have a brunch coming up in October, our Dia de los Muertos brunch, October 25th. So we're putting some planning around that, how to do the logistics of a remote brunch. Our idea is to come to ABODE, pick up your gourmet boxed meal, go home with it, come on to Zoom, and we all enjoy a brunch together with an online program. So that's an example of something we're working on in the marketing fundraising committee. We also have luminarias coming up December 13th, Sunday, December 13th, where we sell luminarias and people can purchase them in honor of their loved one, and we fill the whole backyard with them. It's absolutely beautiful. So if you enjoy doing events, planning them, planning the logistics, we can keep you busy all the time. Those are the main, oh, and I meant to say the Monday meditation group actually does meet on Zoom. Edwin leads that, and that's going strong. So, you know, Zoom has definitely become our friend. In fact, we've even had a wine tasting on Zoom, which was a lot of fun. So are there any oh, the one thing I did want to talk about is board service. And there's John. Hey, John. We have a board of directors. Beverly is on it. Ken Michaud is on it. He's here with us. And Roxana is on our board. And we meet once a month as well. And again, it's to keep raising money for ABODE and making sure that we're operating and sticking with our mission and our vision. And I wonder if any of our board members might like to say a few words about what you get out of your board service, and the fact that we're actually looking for some board members. So Beverly or Roxana or Ken, would you like to say a few words?
I'll break the ice. Since I've been going to ABODE for the last 4 years in hospice, I just always was very curious about, being on the board, and mostly just to make sure that this wonderful place continues, and that, it's got the support from the community, and to get the word out. And so I tell all my friends about it. They're probably sick of it, but that was my mission. And then just the education part came along with it, because, I just noticed as I visited, the navigators were thirsty. They were thirsty for knowledge. Why is this happening? What can I do about this? Why do you give the patient that? And I just thought, oh, wow, I love to teach, and what a great opportunity. So that was my why. And just to see this beautiful place continue to move forward and get better every day. Next.
For myself, I'm new to the board, just joined a few months ago, but with just different experiences in my life, knowing the importance of the transition of people going from life into death, it's always important to have a place that they can do that and do it peacefully. So being a member of the board, and in my realm, I'm more on the finance side, to see what we can do to set up an endowment fund and different things that will help keep ABODE going for the long term. And doing things like that is very fulfilling.
Yeah. Next.
Okay, so my husband and I both got involved with ABODE back in 2016 when our son completed a labyrinth as an Eagle Scout project, and we just fell in love with it then. And at that time it was closed. And then I started volunteering at Abode. I can tell you, I would have a bad day and I would go in there, and while I may not have too much interaction with the guests, I would clean or do whatever they needed me to do. I'd leave there and I was so at peace. And I miss that. I miss that a lot. But that's why I'm involved, because you can go and have a really bad day and go in there and visit with everybody, even the guests that are dying, and you go out there and you just feel so much better about yourself and about other people, about it's, right now the world is so crazy that, I miss that.
Yeah, for sure.
In addition to the board, we have an advisory board, and I haven't gotten this group as active as I'd like. COVID popped up right when we were going to get started with that, but the advisory board has longtime Abode supporters who have so much knowledge. For example, Chuck Gibbons is on it, Arthur Dawes, Edwin is on it, and I look forward to getting that group together too, to just bounce ideas off of. They were the ones who got the organization started, so they know how to make this thing work, and I'm always interested in their feedback. Edwin, when you all were putting Abode together, what was your vision for how volunteers would play a role?
What comes to mind kind of right away is with Patsy's experience as a volunteer coordinator in hospice for so many years, I really liked what she always felt to be true, and we've talked about it tonight about the volunteers and the role of volunteers. But whatever needs to be done, there's a job for someone to do that. And I think when Adriana was talking about the special nature of giving care at Abode, it certainly is. And it's also something that we felt when we were beginning to create Abode that was really true, which is that what we do at Abode is what human beings have done for each other since the beginning of time, which is to care for one another, and how we learn to do that means that we can be given some training through Abode Academy and through being at the home and learning things like how do you feed someone or who has a hard time swallowing, or what's it like and how do you help to turn a guest in bed. The skilled means really that we can learn from one another, because in some ways it's really nothing special, because it's so human to give care and to love one another, and in the way that Abode was created to do. So I think that volunteers bring so much, and and when I've visited at Abode over the years and witnessed what volunteers are doing there, everyone from, for example, one of our volunteers is Jill, and Jill is in her 80s, I think her mid 80s, and
90s.
Is she 90 now? Well, she comes or was coming when Abode was open once a week, and her job and what she wanted to do was to clean. So gosh, she was giving of herself in that way. It's what she wanted to do. And I remember another volunteer who retired from nursing came to Abode. And she was, her gift, what she wanted to give it to Abode, was no longer being involved in hands-on care. She wanted to cook. And so she came and she cooked at Abode once or twice a week, Adriana, if I remember right.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yes, yeah. So it's so true, isn't it? Everyone who comes, there's a gift they bring, and they make Abode brighter, and just the energy that volunteers bring into the Abode family community is really profound.
Thank you. Let's see. There's a few more questions we can go over. How many board members are there? And is anyone welcome to join Monday meditation?
Yes.
So how do you get on
there
Monday
are-
meditation?
Let's see, Mary, I think what we're doing now is if someone wants to join, they let you know, and then you add them to the Basecamp meditation group, right? And then you send out a Zoom invitation on Mondays that people click on and open right up to it.
That's right. Yes, it's open to anyone. And in terms of our board, we have 8 members right now, and we can have 12. So we're actively recruiting for it. We'd love to have a nice, diverse board, diversity of all kinds, and including skills. So that's one of our projects right now, is to look at what skills are we missing on the board, what level, what expertise would be good to fill in, so that we're a well-rounded board. Our members right now are great, and we have the opportunity to add some more, and we may even add more members to the board. We talked about that, in fact, Wednesday night, that maybe we can go beyond 12. The more board members you have, of course, the more difficult it is to wrangle everybody together, but you also get such diverse perspectives and opinions, and more people out there who are evangelizing what you do. So if board service is something you've been interested in and you're ready to roll up your sleeves, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's certainly well worth it.
Next question, do you have a volunteer board, or are they paid?
It's volunteer. It's volunteer.
It's completely volunteer.
Yes, and we have, in fact, we just formed a nominations committee Wednesday night. Ken's going to help with that, but Elsa Underwood and Guy Asseri are our co-chairs of the nomination committee. So if you'd like to be considered, let me know, and I'm happy to connect you with the two of them.
Okay, well, yeah, I think we've gotten through all of our questions. You know, it's interesting to see what's going to happen with ABODE as the months go on. And, you know, it'll be so exciting when we can open our doors again and let people in. But in the meantime, you know, just keep watching your emails, because we'll always have something coming up. And Zoom has been our friend, like Mary said. And you know, we've had volunteers in the home since we've been closed for COVID, when we need someone to sit with a patient or a guest, and the yard is always there looking at us.
I wanted to suggest one other thing in terms of a nice way to help us out. If you're on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, we'd love for you to follow us. However, if you are active on Facebook, just holding a Facebook fundraiser for us, it really has resulted in some nice funds coming, you know, for your birthday or whatever. Patsy did one, I did one. Susan, yes, you did one, Susan Ruck. And those funds come to us, and it's like a little extra blessing each month when somebody does that. So if you have done them in the past, or you're thinking about it, we would be very grateful if you would consider us. And plus it gets us exposed to your network. That helps show your network of folks who we are, and that's always very helpful. There's a question here about term limits on the board. I'm not sure that we have term limits. We're starting to look through those policies and procedures again and bring them up to date. So there may or may not be. Do you remember, Roxana?
Years. And Edward can do this as well.
Yeah, okay. Oh, 2 years for the board. All right, anyway.
Okay.
I saw a question from Alex about how guests can leave a legacy. I think I saw something like that earlier on.
Yes, there it is.
And Yeah, and that's lovely too. We've had several guests and their families create monuments of some sort in our backyard, or do fundraisers for us, or become regular donors. One husband of a woman who died a while back just came on Wednesday. He just wanted to walk around the backyard and have that feeling of being close to her at Abode. So guests and their families leave a lasting legacy with us in any number of ways. And their friends too. We still get donations from friends in honor of someone who died at Abode long ago. They still keep them in their hearts and honor them that way. It's
And
really beautiful.
And we have our butterflies in the quiet room that
Yes.
for each of our guests that has died in Abode, they have a butterfly. So that's a way to keep them present.
I was going to mention when the vision for Abode came about, it was many years before it actually got legs, so to speak, before we had a model that we could integrate into the Abode ideas. And so what I was going to say was that over those years in between, I would talk about the vision that I had for all those years to many people. Like Susan Moreno heard about it, I don't know how many times over the years. When I would see her, when I was visiting one of the nursing homes where we had, where the hospice I worked for had patients. And so we would visit, and she was interested. She said, well, when I retire, and so what I was going to say was how important it is to talk about Abode to everyone you know, because that's how people get to know about Abode. They express interest, they'll look at the website, they'll call Mary or Adriana and talk about their interest. And I remember the very first meeting that we called together people to say, hey, listen, we've got a model. Are you still interested in coming and helping us create this? And there were 20-some people who came out of the 75 or so that I was in contact with in my ongoing list of people who said, well, let me know if anything ever gets started. So Chuck heard about it for years too. So, it really is just a way that the Abode message gets around, is by talking about it and asking questions about it, and hopefully, it won't be too long when Abode is open to having volunteers there, more so than it can right now. But just a note of gratitude for everyone who's volunteering at Abode now and in years past. It's made it. It still astonishes me in some ways to imagine that the vision became a reality, because of the hard work of so many people, and which really reflected, the hard work reflected the need that people understood that Abode would meet. There's such a need for what Abode can offer, and just a little bit, but a little bit really matters. Like we were hearing today when Beverly was talking about the guest who came to Abode this evening. Gosh, without Abode, there would be no place for him, and so we can help in a little bit like that, and that's really, really meaningful.
Yeah. By the way, thank you. I've noticed some of you went ahead and donated to the Big Give while we were talking. So thank you very much. Not that I check it every 5 minutes or anything like that.
Mary, do you know how much money they made? Do you know how much money? Do you know how much money?
Of course I know. I check it every 5 minutes.
So how much have you raised?
We've raised $14,123. And we have a match offer of 15. So when we get to 15, it will be matched, which brings us to 30,000. And then I'm hoping that we can raise 5 more before midnight. So that would make our grand total for 35,000 today. So
Great.
thank you all for your support. It goes until midnight. In fact, there's a match minute at 9:15.
Really?
So if anybody's got any loose change in their couch or in their pockets, if you go to thebiggivesa.org and get ready to give right at 9:15, the Big Give will match it up to and including $100. So I've been watching that too. But yeah, it's very exciting day.
Mhm.
It is. And don't they eventually rank it? Like, I remember a few years ago, we were following it really close and they ranked it, and ABODE came in like, top 5.
Yeah, we're not at the top 5 today though. We've got some stiff competition, but folks are doing very well, and it's good to see that the Big Give is helping so many nonprofits in our community.
And it's a tough time. I mean, our economy and our city's struggling, our country's struggling, and
Yeah.
we're still giving.
Yeah, we actually might, if we get that match, we'll move right up. So there's a leaderboard you can look at the bottom of our page that shows where everybody is. So, good day.
Well, we're all
I
gonna
would like to ask to Susan Moreno, if what has ABODE has done for you, or how has ABODE impacted you since you have been volunteering with us?
Well, I've gotten far more out of it than I've received so much from the guests. They have taught me so much. They have really changed my world. It has been a community for me. When I was able to participate in the different activities, from showing up on a Saturday to shoveling gravel to fill the labyrinth walk to setting up the luminarias. For me, it was friendships that I made, getting to open my heart. So I've gotten far more out of it than I've been able to give. Believe me.
Oh, thank you.
And everybody's been wonderful, and I want to go back.
Yes, I know. We've missed you all so much. Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, we've got 5 more minutes left. I think we've gone through all the questions. So I think that's a wrap. This is our final ABODE Academy, and thank you all for participating, for your information. Adriana, thank you for what you do, and thank you for being here tonight. And Mary, we're so blessed that you're here with us and for everything you do. And I just can't wait to see what we're going to do in the months to come.
Wonderful.
Yeah. If you want to volunteer, give us a call.
Give us a
Yeah.
call here. Even though you won't be able to come until January, but you can start doing some
We
things
have a big yard. If you like yard work,
the yard or the marketing committee or
Committees. Yeah.
Yes, committees. We need help.
meeting.
We'll put you to work.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay.
We'll keep in touch.
So much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.